everybody, I'm back. It took a minute this time. I don't know what I was doing. So, anyway, I have something in mind for today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time we take the sacred task of the chicken throw. Yes, I have purposely gone and gathered only 8 eggs for the specific chance that I may indeed get a chicken. And here we are on the range for the chicken throw. A hush falls over the crowd. Well, it was supposed to, at least. Here's the wind-up. And with the sacred prayer, you will give me a chicken! Ha! One whole chicken. For those of you that don't know, eggs are a 1 in 8 chance of getting a chicken. There's also like a 1 in 14. I think it's supposed to be 1 in 14. 1 in so many, and so on and so forth, that you're going to get actually 4 chickens out of an egg instead of just one. And I figured it's enough to make a little game out of it. So I did get my field of potatoes. I've got my field of beetroots and oh wait, that's the field of carrots. That's the field of potatoes. Something tells me this world's gonna crash any minute now. I figured, you know what? I can just do this on a flat world, and with less terrain to generate, it'll probably be easier on the computer, which means it'll crash less. The problem is I haven't found any good flat worlds to actually do it in that represent anything regarding more than just frustrating challenge. As you can see by the convenient trail of torches, I've set up this area to gather paper. Well, sugarcane, which you then make into paper, but same difference. This, of course, being the same stream that I ran across all that time ago. Like I said, I know my house is around here somewhere. I didn't go exactly the way I was supposed to go, but it was around. It was around here somewhere. Let's get rid of this. So there's my crops. There's my animals. I could technically start domesticating pigs, but I don't really feel like it. There are cows up in the mountains that I could domesticate. That's technically good, because, you know, beef is considered the best food product. I could simply go get that. But what I'm interested in is actually just waiting until we can get paper. Because if we get paper, then we can go back to the village and train up the cartographer. But wait, there wasn't a cartographer there last time. No, there wasn't. You remember those 2 guys in the pen that I passed by? I freed them off screen, and then one of them ran into a nearby house and became a cartographer. Which is good, because cartographers give out, not contain, they're not actually containers. They give out treasure maps. And one of them's probably going to have a treasure map to a woodland manor, which is the big thing to take down now, if you're not going to go straight for the Nether and the Nether and the End. There are actually two Masons here now. There's this noob one, and then there's the one that I already traded with a bunch. This program's starting to get really unsteady. It's like my computer just can't handle anything. It just can't. Here's the cartographer. He will trade maps and paper. So that's why I'm trying to grow paper. Where was that other guy? He was off by himself somewhere. There he is. Or there's his place, rather. He lives in this house as opposed to the other one. I suppose technically when you make this many houses, you need more than one person and a stone saw. He's not actually here. I hear him. There he is. Smoke break, apparently. So yeah, this guy will give you an emerald for 10 clay, which is easy enough to get, or an emerald for 20 stone, which I can get by cooking a heck of a lot of it. And in case you're wondering, yes, I do have a heck of a lot of it lying around. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grow paper and trade rocks in order to level up the cartographer. Once the cartographer is at a high enough level, he will give me a map. And that map will lead to treasure and things. And let's face it, this game is going to crash, and it's probably going to delete itself like it did last time. Right soon. So, I'm going to have to hurry up on all this. The problem is, smelting cobblestone into regular stone still takes fuel, and I don't have a lot of fuel. One way or the other. I could just use wood, but you know, that'd be very costly. Turning wood into charcoal is costly. Using actual coal is costly. So, fake it till you make it until the point where you realize you can't actually fake it. I improved some things. You'll see I've got staircases going all over which way, and I've got more space where things can be done. I'm just going to take this. And bring it down here with this one. And I suppose it's time to get to work. As you can see, I've dug out even farther areas. Well, as you can't see, because the darkness is actually quite lethal on your screen. Well, not lethal, it doesn't kill you. It's potent. That's the word I'm searching for. Potent. On your screens, because you can't actually see the things I see. But in essence, if I dig up all this crap and convert it in these furnaces, then I'll have a way. Conveniently enough, look what I happen to have. For those of you that don't know, lava is perhaps the best fuel source I don't technically actually use it all that much myself, because, quite frankly, I'm not too obsessed with having the best fuel source or the most efficient of any build. But in this case, whatever saves me coal saves me coal. And there's a zombie over there. So I was thinking of just doing like a super flat, but with the new variety options to super flat, it's more than just dirt and rock and then nothing. Of course, it's going to be hard anyway because, you don't get anything. You don't have trees and such. You have to deal with, like, villages and whatnot. It's more complicated than I'm making it sound, really. It is. Like, if you've ever seen someone try to do a hardcore playthrough, how did I miss that? You guys probably can't even see, but yeah, there was just a piece of coal just hanging out here. And I did not see that, much to my dismay. Let's see. What do I have to complain about today? Dating sites as per usual. So, I'm making an empty plea out to the bowels of nowhere for a nice girl to come and meet me. And of course, the first thing somebody asks is, "Are you interested in men?" And of course, I'm having a hard time trying to figure out how to let the guy down easy. Because this isn't the first time this has happened to me, and part of me sympathizes. And then the next part of me is like, I've already said 1,000 times that I'm not looking for men. So it should be obvious that I'm not looking for men. But apparently it's not obvious enough. Then again, I'm pretty dense, and I'm a guy, so perhaps other guys are just as dense as I am. If not more so, according to what I hear from many women. So maybe it's just a thing where the guy's pushing his luck, or it could just be that he legitimately doesn't realize that what I'm trying to say doesn't apply to him. Then again, I only got that message after like 20 hours. So, he probably already thinks I ignored him. Doing nothing is an option. And I really need to get better hooks on this light situation, but as you can see, I'm not doing very well with resources. I've found more than enough diamonds. I've found more than enough gold. I've even made a profit on emeralds. As you can see, I have all the different types of crops. I found some pumpkins lately, and I've acquired all of the other kinds of farm goods. But it's just, I don't have coal. I don't have that infrastructure kind of bedrock stuff that one would need. Like, I already came up with the idea to do something particularly interesting for all of you, my little viewers out there. But it turns out I can't do that without, again, a significant investment in infrastructure. So I'm just going to hang out for a bit. We're going to talk, we're going to chat, we're going to, sit back. And maybe by the end of this time, I'll have found something, or at least enough of something, in order to enact my grand master plan. To take over the world. I mean, find something interesting to do, finally. So, yeah, just feel free to skip the rest of this episode, honestly. It's just going to be me digging and trying to find stuff to talk about randomly while I wait for all of my 20 units of stone to cook. Like what I've done with the place. See, I've decided that my storage chest here was getting a little too full, so I took all of the other stuff that didn't necessarily have a home and just put it back in the ground. Essentially, I just put it back in the ground. Like, as you can see, the giant deposit of granite is actually on top of what was formerly a giant deposit of granite. Like, I can keep the spawns down, sort of, by just putting these things back where they're supposed to go. Like, I already know there's nothing under them or on top of them, so there's really no point in having them lying in the chest and taking up room I could use for something else, I guess. Like, probably not, because all it's doing is putting things back in my way. But, you know, this way it's not taking up room in my chests. Which is good, because I need that room for stuff. And junk. And fish. Now, you may be asking, well, Al, what are you missing? Well, if I told you, that would give it away, but in reality, I need to spend a lot of time online gathering mob drops and all this other stuff to try and make things go well. Which, as you can guess. So as you can see, the lava is barely getting used at all and proceeding quite quickly. I do have some wood with me, which means we can trim down the walls a bit. And hopefully I'll make it out alive with some extra junk. I did bring food this time. You know, as much as a bunch of carrots can be considered food. Should I mine this out after all? See, that's the thing with the policy of putting it back. If you put it back, what's the point of taking it out in the first place? Not like there's a lot going on, but I do hope you guys can see all the stuff. Because, you know, it'd be a shame if I actually had something happen and then you couldn't see it because of low light. I don't understand why it's doing that. That and the aspect ratio thing. I've had people come out and say, you know, there's nothing wrong with the aspect ratio. I've seen things happen. And there's this kerfluffle. And I just don't know. I don't know what to make of the situation. But the lighting's a serious problem, and I really wish I knew how to fix it. Like, I guess I could up my brightness on my screen, but if my brightness is set the way it is, and it's like a little less than it should be for optimal play, and I can still see things that you can't on your screen, then adjusting the brightness probably isn't going to do anything for any of you. Times like this, I wish I had interesting things to think about. I've only got 9 more minutes. You have one of those goals that seems impossible and insurmountable. How am I going to talk about nothing for 9 minutes and make it seem interesting? Well, you don't, but you try. Is anyone into D&D? I started watching a bunch of, not Let's Plays, but, summaries of group D&D sessions lately. And I'm like, yeah, I'd like to get into that again. The problem is the only people I know who play D&D don't like me because of how I play D&D. Like, it's not my fault that you chose to barter with the shopkeeper and lost. I told you it would be simpler just to pay the market value for gold. In case you don't know, in the version of D&D I play, the market value of a chunk of gold is a gold piece. Which doesn't statistically make sense because if you melt down a gold bar, you can make a lot of gold coins out of it. True, but at the same time, a gold bar being a gold coin is actually really merciful. Yada yada yada, no one cares. And we spent 2 hours with the players trying to haggle and failing because they didn't want to pay market price, which, good on them. They stuck to their guns and everything, but it's not my fault you failed. I do not kill players. Players die and I get blamed for it. But anyway, I've had this storyline sort of running for a while. I took my brother-in-law and my sister through it for a bit, but they're not really into playing games. And since my sister is considered an essential worker at a fast food joint, they don't really have time to play anyway. Unlike me, who's been unemployed for like 3 months. And has all the time in the world. So I need someone who, A, knows how to play, B, actually wants to play, C, has time to play, and D, hopefully isn't a min-maxer like is the trend for play these days. Like, here's the thing. It's very hard to make encounters, okay? As a game master, you have to figure out what level the creatures have to be in order to be fair but not overwhelmingly hard or overwhelmingly easy to the party. And you can do this statistically, but, that's a lot of math and a lot of work. And you will spend hours and hours and hours writing up pages and pages and pages only to have your players blow through it in 5 minutes. And that is if you can get their attention to do the thing they're supposed to do to play the game in the first place. Which is another problem I've run into because I've made it very obvious, hey, you're supposed to go over here, and then my players take every occasion to go in the opposite direction. Which would have been not bad if I had something for them to do in the opposite direction. eh, you can say I'm not a very good dungeon master, and I'm like, yeah, I will accept that. I'm new at all this. But at the same time, the, well, oh good, our rocks are done. Refill the furnace. Simple. Get more lava, stick it back in the furnace. It's not actually going to refill until it's already done. So, like, I have a nice, scary sort of political campaign going on. Well, not going on, but, in my mind. I have a couple of different scenarios that people could play through, of course. I have one which I have dubbed Politico, which was supposed to be based on direct feedback from my previous party, but no one wants to or will play with me again, so there's all that. Then there's the original tale, which was actually supposed to be crafted specifically for that group of players, revolving around a particular character and their struggles, and then on to the next, and then on to the next, so on and so forth. But we didn't get very far in that one because they spent 2 hours trying to haggle with the shopkeeper. Of course, I'm always interested in playing new types of games. I've been working on a resurrection homebrew of what was formerly called Walmart Apocalypse, which, in case you don't know, I actually have some videos on for what limited data I have. Back in the day, at some kind of conference or convention or so on and so forth, a bunch of people who were playing D&D got stuck trying to entertain a crowd for longer than they were supposed to, and the GM just popped out Walmart Apocalypse. And it's like, what if Walmart was an all-consuming global megacorp that did all sorts of disgusting, evil things with their employees and products and everything else, and basically life revolved around being trapped in a Walmart. And I've led a guy through this. My brother-in-law volunteered to play once or twice, and I have some limited data. I'm working on stat tables and such. Going with skill points rather than skill ranks. How do I explain it? It's a trait system, not a point system. Like, you take the negative trait that you are nearsighted, but that gives you bonus points that you can put into getting more skills. Like, I'm nearsighted, but I'm a better driver than you are, even when I'm nearsighted. And stuff like that there. Also, I've gotten into a whole Cthulhu thing again. Because in case you don't know, I'm into me some Cthulhu and shit. The problem being, no one likes Cthulhu. Or shit. Like, seriously, as soon as I started writing science fiction work, science fiction started going down the tubes. Which is odd, because I've had a mostly positive reception from people who have read my work. Not that a lot of people have read my work or that they have any excuse to be realistic to me. Well, what do you know? I actually managed to last 30 minutes without too great a lapse of silence. But you know what I'm going to be doing for the next few days? Until I can actually present progress or something worth your time, anyway.